So it's not so much that I'm late to the party on this one, but and I've certainly seen over the last week or two meme after meme after meme about this individual. But it was only in the last 24 hours that I saw the clip in its entirety, and I just thought, what a fucking slapper. Seriously, what an absolute. I mean, there was zero attraction as far as I was concerned. Though, if any woman came out with that pish, I'd just go, well, you've been great company, and walk off. Seriously, because, and let's face it, let's look at reality here. If you are apparently so experienced that you can give, quite literally, the kind of advice that most prostitutes would be, well, doll, is that how, but look at the reality. I mean, I think most prostitutes are well skilled in what she comes out with, but it's just, to me, it's a turn-off, if anything. And yet she's been promoted as, well, this is the antidote to the LGBT. Honestly, I've even seen that, and I'm thinking, really? I mean, it's part of that, ongoing destabilization. I remember it was the early 80s, about 84, and Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Relax. Now, when you actually look at the background of that particular record, when it was first released, it wasn't actually doing that well, and then it was sort of it was promoted by the BBC, and then one of the BBC DJs at the time, a guy called Mike Reed, expressed his distaste for both the record's suggestive sleeve and, of course, the lyrics, and essentially said, he wasn't going to play it, and it turned out apparently later that the BBC had decided that the song wasn't going to be played anyway. And then because of that, well, you know what happened. It just suddenly shot up the charts, blah, blah, blah. And of course, when you look at that sort of time in history in relation to music in the UK, then you had other bands that were coming out, quite literally. Communards, various others, Marilyn, Boy George, various people, yeah. So there was this promotion within the music industry of, well, essentially, if it feels good, do it, whatever. And I would argue this is another aspect of this, because somewhere in the story at the bottom, and remember, the shock jock, Howard Stern, says, look, this is not good. It's not impressed by, adding, as a dad myself of 3 girls, that's every father's worst nightmare, to see her on Instagram going, yeah, you've got to blah, blah, blah on that thing. But I would say this is ceremonial, obligation, history repeating itself. This will be absolutely pushed to the max. Even the picture there, it's like something at a pornographic movie where they're on their knees, blah, 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 and, apparently. Anyway. But it's the promotion of this crap, because honestly, if you look at the video in its entirety, which is, I think it's over 2 minutes, you see very short clips shared by most people, but it is something like well over 2 minutes, I think it was. And I just, honestly, I wasn't impressed at all, really. There was nothing classy or sexy at all about this individual. I just think it's obligation, ritualistic, and to add to that, it's a reminder of the late great Yuri Bezmenov, who was a KGB defector, who was quite literally warning that even although he defected to the United States, he was quite literally seeing the deliberate destabilization overtime of Western nations, and he was trying to warn people. He didn't last that long, I'll be honest. In fact, from memory, I think he died in his 50s. But yeah, the 4 stages of ideological subversion. I'll leave you a link to it. I haven't watched this in its entirety. I remember watching this years ago, though, but I'll leave you a link to it. But this is part and parcel of that. Don't be fooled. And I'll speak to you soon.